What's going on, everybody? Friday here with Friday's Gear Reviews, back with another drop from the dark side of the EDC. And today we're taking a look at a pen that's not just functional, this thing is damn near iconic. This here is the Ti2 Design's Techliner pen, Playge collab. And let me tell you, it's got the looks, the feel, the fidget factor that just might make it your new favorite piece of gear. So let's go ahead and get into it. So first, let's talk about the Techliner itself. This thing is an all USA made pen by Ti2 Designs, but it's got that dark and edgy twists from Playge. And if you're into EDC gear and you like your tools with a little bit of attitude, this one's going to speak to you. This thing is not just a pen. It really feels like something out of a cyberpunk movie. Now let's jump into the design. Now design-wise, this guy is just so clean. And the Playge edition really brings out this dark and almost stealth-like aesthetic that really just sets this apart. Now the Playge laser skull engraved across the body right here, it just adds that extra layer of attitude and visual appeal. This is the kind of pen that just makes you feel cooler by holding it. So now we're going to jump into the maker of the actual Techliner itself. Mike Bond founded Ti2 Designs and began his journey in 2007 after taking a chance and visiting a local machine shop. This sparked his interest in precision manufacturing, and in 2012, he launched his first EDC products on Kickstarter and used crowdfunding to acquire the equipment needed to scale his business. And since then, he's established 3 of these super standout brands that if you're familiar with EDC, you definitely know and love. And that's going to be Hi-Tech's, Ti2 Design, and Bond Knives, through which he continues to just design and innovate and craft this high quality gear. Now, next we're going to jump into the actual designer of these skulls here, and that's going to be Playge. So Clay Ferguson, aka Ferg, founded Playge in 2008, and he started with these art prints and these dark and edgy designer toys before expanding into EDC gear, which honestly is now a major influence on the brand's identity. Now let's jump into build quality here. This thing is milled from a solid block of titanium, and yes, this thing is built like a tank. The threads right here for the actual pieces on the pen are just so smooth and clean. And this whole thing feels like it was engineered by someone who is obsessed with tight tolerances. This is one of those pieces that's meant to be written with. It's meant to not just sit on a desk. It's meant to be carried here. You can throw this thing on a bag, or if it accidentally drops on concrete, it's going to hold up. Now, with this, special edition one here, I'd be kind of upset if I dropped it on concrete, but it's just one of those sturdy pieces that you know is going to last. Now, let's talk about the magnets here, because the cap is magnetic. That's the signature piece of the Techliner pen itself. And it's just super cool. Instead of twisting the pen or clicking it at the top, you pull this guy off, and this thing sticks to the pen on both sides using these rare earth magnets. This system is clean and secure, as you can see. Both sides, shaking it, the cap is not going to fall off. And this thing, like I said, is clean, secure, and honestly just really satisfying to mess with. You'll catch yourself fidgeting with this more than you'll actually be writing sometimes. Now, let's talk about specs and size comparisons here. We're going to do just a few. So, as far as size goes, let me do this here. I got to keep this kind of away because the magnets will suck this thing to it. But this pen is roughly around 5.5 inches. Okay. As far as weight goes on this guy here, get the scale out. Should be right under an ounce. Yeah, 0.934 ounces. So not exactly a lightweight, but nothing too heavy that you couldn't carry. So now let's go ahead and jump into size comparisons. So we'll put it first with that $2 bill. So a little bit smaller than the $2 bill. Sharpie, so let's butt those up together. So a little bit shorter than the Sharpie there. We got your AAA battery here. So let's push this over here so you can get an idea. So as you can see, the magnet sucked it in. So not even close, if you will, as the AAA battery. And then lastly, we'll do the AA here. Anyways, let's go ahead and bring this back in here. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into the writing experience itself. This guy here is using the Pilot G2 refill, which to me is one of the better ink refills here. And what's cool is you may wonder why this is so high up when normal pens usually have just this sticking out. That's for these, like if you're drafting something, if you're putting it next to a ruler itself, or you want to butt it up against something, you have that room to still make the clean lines without pushing on the actual tip here, or this part of the pen right there. So you get those really, really tight lines to something. And I'll show you what I mean here. So like I said, as opposed to pushing off like this to where you have the pen away, you can get right next to a ruler or piece and just make that super, super clean line here. Put this guy back. And what's really cool is if the Pilot G2 is not your thing, there's plenty of refills out there that you could change it out with. So you can customize it really to match your writing style here. Next, we'll jump into how it carries. So the Techliner's pocket clip is sleek, functional, and really thoughtfully designed. And since it's not attached to the cap here, it just adds to overall usability. And the low profile design of this cap here has the perfect tension that securely grips onto your pants, shirt, in my case, a scrub top pocket, or if you have an organizer, grips onto there. But there's no sharp edges under this clip. And like I said, the retention is perfect here. So it's not gonna tear your pants up when going in and out or your pockets itself. So while this is not a deep carry clip though, the bit of the pen that remains visual actually works in your favor, because with the mixture of this grip here, and you have about this much sticking out of your pants, it really gives you that purchase so you can pull the pen out without a problem. Now, the pen overall is not super heavy, but not super lightweight, but it's not gonna drag your pants down or feel bulky in the pocket. It's one of those things you'll barely notice it's there until you need it. And while it's not ultra slim, it is pretty slim and it fits comfortably in the pocket or pen organizer slips. So basically overall on that point, the Techliner is really a breeze to carry and was clearly designed with everyday carry use in mind. Now, as far as the collector aspect, this version here does not drop often, and when it does, it sells out incredibly fast. But it's not just a shelf queen or something that sits at a desk. This thing is meant to be carried. Yeah, it's collectible, but also it's just meant to be used every day. It's kind of like buying a high-end knife. You just want to carry it, not just admire it. So next, let's jump into the pros and cons. So what I love about this pen are the pros. The magnetic cap is definitely nice. To me, it's a top tier part of this. And the great part is, like I said, you're not going to have to worry about the cap falling off. Because when I first got this guy in, that was kind of my concern, right? Will the cap fall off and things like that? Because I've had some pens with magnetic caps and the magnets weren't very strong. So I did have experiences where the cap fell apart. But this guy, on the other hand, is sturdy and it is very strong to where it will stay, but if you need to take it off the pen, it's not a problem. The next thing here is the titanium build. It's really durable. It's one of those that you really can pass down. And then lastly, the writing experience is so nice on this pen. Now, issues with it, or cons we're gonna say, is these are very limited drops. So it's hard to find unless you catch it on the secondary, or as soon as you see it pop up, you buy it. And then the other thing too is, as we kind of saw in certain things, the magnet will stick to stuff that you might not want it to. Also, if you use this at like a, construction job, something like that, it could pick up metal shavings or things like that over time. Now, final thoughts on this pen. I'm in 100% for this one. If you're into pens or want something unique for your daily gear, the Ti2 Design's Techliner is really hard to beat, especially this Playge edition here. This thing's got character, and it's overbuilt and just feels like something you'd use in the future, where pens are weapons, if you will. It's not cheap, but it doesn't feel like it needs to be. You're getting this beautiful craftsmanship and machining, and this style that's not trying too hard to be something fancy or anything like that. It's just trying to be your everyday pen, and I think it really excels at this. So as far as overall ratings go, I'm gonna give it probably about a 9.8, and that's really due to the limited drop. That's kind of a big part here. And I didn't really talk about pricing, but honestly, price-wise, these are about $180, which is steep for a pen, but in its class, I feel like this is kind of competing with stuff like, the Grimsmo Saga and things like that, which this is on the cheaper side compared to those pens. The bottom line here, if you can grab one, don't hesitate. This thing is one of the coolest pens out there for sure. And like I said, especially with this collaboration here, it really does set the bar higher. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, share. Thanks for stopping by. Y'all have a great day.